You know, you already know because I already said it at the beginning when I felt about the first two episodes. Now, as far as this episode is concerned, we pick up with Halbrand and we also pick up with Galadriel. They're on the ship and being taken to Mirador. There, we meet Queen Muriel, and she's surprised to see an elf because apparently the elves and the people who live in this area, well, they didn't depart on good terms. So she's not happy to see Galadriel. Of course, Halbrand does try to speak up. It goes pretty much nowhere. And we also catch up with Aaron, and that's what I'm going to call him. I know it's Aaron Deal, sorry, but I'm going to call him Aaron just to make it a little easier on myself. And he has been taken prison by the orcs, and he's placed in a labor camp. And in this labor camp, there are other elves. So, of course, they're digging, they're chopping. They have to chop down a tree at one point, which the elves refuse to do it. Of course, the orcs don't care. They're like, "You're gonna chop down that tree." So we have that going on, and it comes down to one of the elves being killed. His throat is cut, and that persuades the elves to cut down the tree. Then we go back to Galadriel and Hollibrand, and Hollibrand's at this tavern. You know, he's there. He's talking to a few of the local people at this tavern. They're eating oysters. They're drinking ale, and Halbrand, tries to make peace with some of the people who are at this tavern because they know him. They know him because he's from this area where he and Galadriel are. And what ends up happening is, these guys get up, they approach him, and then to make peace with them, he says, "I'll buy you a round of drinks." And just when he thinks he's in the clear and he can leave, these same guys eventually go to find him and they beat the snot out of him. And of course, the guards come and they arrest him, they throw him in jail. There's even a scene later on in the episode where Galadriel talks to him while he's in the dungeon. Reason why she goes to see him in the dungeon is because at one point she is given permission to go to this area's Hall of Records, and you see scroll upon scroll upon scroll. And she finds the scroll that she needs because it has the Mark of Sauron. And she tells him, and by him, Halbrand, that she has the paperwork and, of course, the mark. And, of course, they both know they have to leave. Of course, Queen Muriel's not too happy about that. She's not even too happy about Galadriel being there because of past relationship with the elves. And she says the prophecy has happened. The elves are here. So there's this prophecy apparently forecasting doom when the elves arrive. And then what ends up happening is we catch up with the Hardfoots, and of course, Norai and Poppy are talking. They're there with not Gandalf, and what we learned, they're getting ready to go on their journey to go to the Shire. That's what I'm guessing it is. We're going to the Shire, and of course, they're talking about this journey coming up, and let me just real quick. eh, Well, that could be a possibility too. Crit. It could turn out to be Sauron in disguise, or Sauron, pretending to be their friend, and then when he gets what he wants, he puts a knife in their back. But anyways, Poppy and Norai are trying to find this paperwork that has the stars that, and I'm just saying it again because we haven't been given the guy's name yet, not Gandalf. But anyways, there's this piece of paper and it has the stars that the fireflies from episode 2 formed. And, you know, not Gandalf is found out, and the tribe leader, before he's even found out, when not Gandalf comes to the village, the tribe leader is reading off a list of names of those who unfortunately perished and how they perished. Some perishing due to a rock slide, some perishing because of a severe snowstorm, some perishing because of wolves, and some perishing because of bad health. So they're reading off the names, and of course, not Gandalf shows up, and they find out that it was Norai who was the one who was attending to him and helping him heal. And their normal rule of thumb is you can't go with us. But the leader of the Harfoots decides she can go. Her family can go, but they're going to hold up the rear. So then we get back to Aaron and the rest of the elves who are in the labor camp. They try to make a break for it when an opportunity presents itself. And this weird looking creature, and I'm sorry, but the CGI wasn't done very well. But this weird looking creature comes up, and I'm just gonna say it's a rabbit dog, and starts going after the elves. It starts eating, their arm, and it starts eating their intestines. And you do see blood. A few of the elves try to escape, and then they're killed. Of course, Arendelle does manage to get rid of this creature. He tries to make a run for it, but of course, he's still chained up, and he sees his one friend who was helping him out manage to escape, except there's a little catch. His friend turns around. He has not just one arrow in his chest, but he has two arrows in his chest. He falls down. The orcs throw up another chain, and it wraps around Aaron, and it pulls him down. So Aaron there is just about to be beheaded when you hear a voice off screen say, "Wait, let's take him to Adar." And we don't actually see Adar, but we see the orcs kneeling down and going, "Adar, Adar, Adar." And that is where the episode ends, but also there is another thing I want to touch on with the Hardfoots. There's a point in the episode where we see Norai and her family, holding up the rear, and her father's struggling to move the cart. Norai is struggling to move the cart, and Poppy is in front of them. Poppy sees that they're having a tough time moving the cart, so she goes to assist them. Of course, they tell her, "No, you don't want to be left behind." Well, we find out why the cart's so heavy, because not Gandalf, again, because we don't know his name yet. We haven't been given his name yet. Is in the cart. So all of its weight is what's making it a uneasy task to go through this trail and go through the mud and everything. So that's just some of the things that went on in this episode. I don't want to, reveal every single last bit of what went on in this episode because I don't know which one of you is intending on actually watching this. Overall, from what I saw, I've got to be honest. I'm going to be fair. This episode, out of a scale of 5, it's not a 3. It's not a 4. It's not a 5. But I will give it a 2.5. It was better, but still, I know one thing for me. It's the fact that I can't separate what I saw in the movies to what I'm seeing in this. I'll admit that right here, right now. I'm having a hard time separating what I consider the pinnacle of movie making, especially when it comes to adapting a book to a film, to what I'm seeing in The Reigns of Power. So I will give this episode a 2.5. It had some things I did like, and a lot of that did have to do with the CGI scenery of Narendor, and then of course the music wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad at all. The theme, hearing it before episode 2 last week and hearing it before this week's episode, it wasn't bad. So, you know, I'll take whatever little positives I can get. It's either a half glass empty type of thing or a glass half full type of thing.